Welcome to Southwest Desert, where adventure meets the arid beauty of the American Southwest. Join us as we explore the rugged landscapes, uncover hidden historical gems, and dive deep into the rich legends and culture of this iconic region. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on our latest desert adventures. Please leave a like or comment. This is very helpful. Let's journey together into the heart of the Southwest Desert. Imagine this. It's a freezing winter night in 1862 in the rough mining town of Aurora, Nevada. The saloons are packed, whiskey is flowing, and suddenly someone bursts through the swinging doors shouting just one word: Whiteman. Within minutes, the entire town erupts into chaos. Men abandon their card games, gulp down their drinks, and rush into the bitter cold. By dawn, Aurora is a ghost town. Every soul has vanished into the Sierra Nevada mountains, chasing after one mysterious figure and his map to unimaginable riches. This isn't fiction, folks. This is the true story of the lost cement mine and the incredible boom and bust saga of Mammoth City, a tale that Mark Twain himself witnessed firsthand, involving German brothers, catastrophic engineering failures, and enough gold fever to drive an entire region completely mad. The story starts in the early 1850s during the height of California's gold rush. Three German brothers, their names lost to history, had traveled thousands of miles to strike it rich in the American West. While resting in a secluded canyon in Mono County, they made a discovery that would haunt the Sierra Nevada for decades. There, embedded in the rock face, was a vein of cement absolutely riddled with chunks of dull yellow metal. When they tested their find, they discovered something that would have made them the wealthiest men in California. The cement was 2/3 pure gold. Imagine their excitement, their disbelief, their desperate calculations of wealth beyond imagination. They loaded themselves down with rock samples, carefully mapped the location, then covered up the vein and began the treacherous journey back to civilization. The Sierra Nevada, however, had other plans. The brutal mountain crossing claimed two of the three brothers. The sole survivor reached the Motherlode settlement so utterly broken by the ordeal that he never found the strength to return to his fortune. On his deathbed, he passed his map and precious rock samples to a local miner named Whiteman, setting in motion one of the West's most enduring treasure hunts. Whiteman became obsessed, spending the rest of his life wandering the Sierra Nevada, following that cryptic map. But here's where the story gets truly wild. Whiteman's quest became legendary throughout the mining camps of California and Nevada. Mark Twain, working the silver mines in Nevada's Esmeralda district, witnessed this phenomenon firsthand. In his camp at Aurora, Twain got what he called one accidental glimpse of the mysterious Whiteman who carried a chunk of that original cement. Twain later wrote that virgin gold was as thick in it as raisins in a slice of fruitcake. The mere rumor of Whiteman's presence could trigger absolute pandemonium. Twain described scenes that sound almost too incredible to believe. I have known it reported at 11 at night in a large mining camp that Whiteman had just passed through, and in 2 hours the streets, so quiet before, would be swarming with men and animals. Picture the complete abandonment of reason. Every individual tried to be secretive while simultaneously whispering to neighbors that W had passed through. By daylight, in the dead of winter, entire camps would be deserted, their populations having vanished into the mountains chasing this elusive figure and his promise of unimaginable wealth. Then, in June 1877, fantasy seemed to become reality. A group led by James A. Parker made a genuine discovery on Gold Mountain, east of what is now Lake Mary in the eastern Sierra. They found a wide ledge of silver-gold ore and immediately announced it as the largest bonanza outside of Virginia City. By August, a Comstock company had optioned it for $40,000. Before the mountain snows had melted the following spring, the company had sent in miners and ordered a massive 40-stamp mill to process the ore. This news sent miners' hearts racing throughout California and Nevada. The stampede was on, and this time it wasn't chasing shadows. There was real gold in them, their hills. The logistics of reaching this remote location were staggering. Workers hurriedly built a wagon road from Benton Mining Camp to the new Mammoth Mines. Another branch was constructed by JLC Sherwin. Those famous highway switchbacks are still known today as the Sherwin Grade. By April 1878, the traffic was incredible. An Owens Valley resident described the parade. Men bound for the Lake District pass through here daily. Some go afoot, others horseback, while a few navigate by vehicles. One of the most prominent arrivals was General George S. Dodge, a noted California mining investor. When mine owners showed him their property and quoted assay figures, Dodge's response became mining legend. He sat down on a pine stump in the main street, looked up 1,000 feet to the Mammoth outcroppings, and declared, "I don't want to know how rich they are. They'll do for a deal anyhow." With that bold optimism, Dodge bought the mine for $30,000 in cash and mining stock, giving another massive boost to the boom. For the next 2 years, Mammoth City rode the crest of California's mining excitement. By spring 1878, lots were occupied for a full mile up the single street, with at least 20 log houses under construction. By 1879, this remote mountain settlement boasted 2 newspapers, 2 breweries, 6 hotels, 6 general stores, and 22 saloons. 1,000 people had made their way to this impossibly remote location, and town lots were selling for $1,500. The excitement reached fever pitch in April 1879 when the Mammoth Mine struck ore reportedly half gold. Stock prices exploded from $3 to $15 practically overnight. The main street was described as a jam of men and teams coming in from all parts and loaded with every conceivable article. Getting supplies to this remote camp was epic. Freight arrived by 20-mule team over a grueling 220-mile trek from Mojave. Passengers came by tri-weekly coach from Benton, connecting with stages from Nevada's Carson City, 150 miles away. But here's what made Mammoth City truly unique. For at least 4 months every year, it was completely snowbound. During these grim seasons, most houses were buried in snow, with residents literally burrowing down to their front doors. All travel was by skis, which locals called snowshoes. There were no horses in camp during winter. As one resident put it, "We couldn't use them if they were here." Despite the excitement and investment, Mammoth City was dogged by spectacular bad luck. The transportation of mining machinery became an epic saga of mishaps. The massive steam boiler for the stamp mill was successfully carried by rail from San Francisco to Mojave, transferred to one of Nadeau's 20-mule team freight wagons, and pulled across the Mojave Desert for 10 grueling days. Finally, these exhausted animals reached the dreaded Sherwin Grade, just 1 day from their destination. As they labored upward to the tune of cracking whips and jingling chains, disaster struck. The wagon toppled over, and the precious boiler crashed into the canyon below. No amount of straining or engineering could haul it back up. According to local reports, it was still lying there years later, a monument to mining misfortune. Even worse problems awaited. Getting ore from the mine down the dizzy decline to the mill became a comedy of errors. First, miners built a trestle, which promptly blew down in the first heavy wind. Next came a chute lined with sheet iron, but the first carload of ore smashed it to splinters. Undaunted, they erected a covered tramway. On the inaugural ride, the car jumped the track at the very first curve and cracked up spectacularly. After modifications, a car got out of control on an icy track and nearly killed the brakeman. They installed mule power on a more level section. But you really can't make this up. A Sierra breeze actually blew the mule off the track. After that incident, reports claimed mountain storms were slowing production. The real reason, according to locals, was that whenever wind rose in the canyon, the traumatized mule simply laid down and refused to move until the weather passed. Under such relentless misfortune, the Mammoth Company had burned through approximately $385,000 by early 1880, while producing an estimated $200,000 in silver and gold. This was decidedly unsatisfactory to stockholders, and the entire operation shut down for good. The exodus was as dramatic as the boom had been. A snowshoe army of disappointed miners and merchants marched out of Mammoth City. By the spring breakup of 1880, the camp was completely deserted, its ambitious buildings left to the mercy of Sierra storms. And so ends the tale of Mammoth City, but not the legend of the lost cement mine. To this day, nobody has found that elusive vein with gold as thick as raisins in a fruitcake. The mine that drove men to abandon reason, families, and entire communities remains hidden somewhere in the Sierra Nevada, waiting for the next generation of dreamers crazy enough to search for it. If you would like to see a lost gold story by where I grew up, click on the link in the description. Join my Patreon community and discover my art print products on my website in the links provided in my description and link above. Also, if you would like a particular image from my videos, give the timestamp for image and I will upload it to my website and Patreon. Thank you for joining your desert frontiersman Alan for another Southwest Gold story. Check out my large catalog of Southwest videos and playlists on historical tales, legends, lost gold stories, and adult bedtime stories. If you like a certain image from my videos, tell me in comments and give timestamp. Happy trails!